What's going on, everybody, and welcome to the Other Side of the Firewall podcast, where we talk about the latest and greatest of cybersecurity news, as well as we highlight those movers and shakers and glass ceiling breakers, those people of color who made it to the other side of the proverbial firewall. My name is Ryan Williams, and as always, I'm joined by Shannon.
What's up? What's up?
What's going on? And welcome to Wednesday's episode. I don't know what number this is. I'm terrible at keeping count. 300 and blah, blah, blah. Definitely continue to tune in to all the episodes. We appreciate you guys coming back to listen to us. Like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. Monday and Tuesday are our topics. Wednesdays are our discussion. And then Fridays, we talk about everything non-cyber related. So movies, books, games, TV shows, all that good stuff. In this discussion, I wanted to go over an article I found on the Hackers News entitled Massive HTTP DDoS Attack Hits Record High of 71 Million Requests per Second. So we've discussed this in the past. I think the largest one last time we talked about was like 40 million or 50 million, which was the world record. It was, Shannon reminded me during the break, it was blocked by Google. We talked about a massive one that was going to hit the Ukraine that Microsoft blocked. So we're getting better. But now Cloudflare has thwarted the record-breaking denial that peaked at over 71 million requests per second. They're calling it a hyper-volumetric DDoS attack, a tsunami, if you will, that was what's the word I'm looking for? It's been enumerated, right? They figured out that it was 30,000 IPs that belong to numerous cloud providers that started this attack, and that they go on to say that it was a one of the longest attacks as well. So they said that I want to make sure I get this right. It says the sophistication and frequency of DDoS attacks are on the rise, with the company recording a 79% spike in HTTP DDoS attacks year over year as of the final quarter of 2022. And then the other stat I wanted to talk about was the number of volumetric attacks lasting more than 3 hours has surged by 87%. So not only was this a huge attack, but it's also a long-lasting attack. So what are your thoughts on this, Shannon?
Man, this is a disturbing trend, is my thoughts on this. So when you think about it, so the previous one that was the record breaker was 46, right? Like we're getting close to doubling it, making it 71 million, right? Is what it was this time, 71 million requests per second. Like this is becoming a disturbing trend. And the thing is, this is only going to get easier, right? So like think about how we live, right? Everything has an IP address now, right? This is why we're going to IPv6, right? This is why we're up.
One day. We've been going to IPv6 for at least 20 years.
I hear you, but this is the reason why, right? Like everything has an IP on it, right? Your fridge does, your toaster does. Like everything is becoming smart now, right? Everything is assigned an IP. So it's going to make things like this a lot easier because of the convenience we want to get to, right? Now, I think eventually there will be a breaking point where it's going to break through for a long period of time and it's going to suck. You know what I mean? Like you're not going to be able to do some things that you want to do, like whether it be telemedicine, you know what I mean? Somebody can't connect to their provider for an appointment they have or for some type of, now usually with emergency, you go to an emergency room, right? But as we've seen in these last 2.5 years, those can become overcrowded, right? Really 3 years, actually. Now that I think about it, we're pushing 3 years now with COVID to where, you'll get emergency rooms backed up. You get clinics that get backed up for people getting seen. Like it's only a matter of time before this has very legitimate life-threatening effects, you know what I mean? Because of how we live life. Technology, I've said it before, I hate to say it, but technology will kill us all, right? Like it's just the movies we watch are not too far off from what is going to happen. The 3 laws will do us in at one point. Right? It's gonna happen, but no, this is a disturbing trend. And like the numbers you read out, right? Like the percentages, like the 79% spike, the amount lasting over 3 hours, like that is crazy, man. 3 hours. So 3 hours not being able to get to what you may need, that could be several lives lost. You know what I mean? That could be hundreds of lives lost. Again, because of how we live our life, right? Everything has an IP now. The Internet of Things, right? Like everything is assigned one to where they all help you, right? And it's going to get to a point, right? Like it's like having children that don't know how to use a rotary phone, right? Like they don't know how to get by without the electronics that we use today, right? And then those of us that do, was like, oh yeah, I remember the original computer. It was called a pencil, right? Like this was print when you wrote with it, right? Delete, use the erasing, you know what I mean? So like we're getting to that inflection point to where there is a younger generation that just doesn't know anything different. You know what I mean? So if they go without it, it's going to be really hard for them to live without those things that they live with, and they're not going to know what to do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Kind of the point we're getting to now. Big ups to Cloudflare, right? Like they did their part. They were like, "Hey, we did this, we stopped it." Kudos to you, but it's gonna, like I said, there's gonna come an inflection point where it's gonna be too much and it's gonna cost lives, and that's the sad thing about it. You know what I mean? But great for them to do this and brag on it today, but tomorrow's a different story. You know what I'm saying? So
right. Yeah. So I guess the optimist in me is like, well, they were able to they say thwart. I don't use that word very frequently, but they're able to stop this attack. Who's to say they're not built more robust where they could have taken double the requests per second, right? Like we don't know what their threshold is. So I think that if not, like they're already working towards making that happen, right? Like Google, Microsoft, Cloudflare, there's a bunch of different companies out there working on solutions. I think, and this is just me speculating, but I think because a lot of things are in the cloud, it gives them a little bit more robustness, so to speak. It gives them a little bit more shielding in that you can just move an instance somewhere else. Like this is being attacked. And we are unable to communicate with it, but we have a hot spot that is on the other side of the globe that, it's going to take you a little bit longer to get there. Like, and that the speed of the internet nowadays, like it'll take you 5 more seconds, like if that, to get there than the other. So there's a lot of elasticity there. I think if you're on-prem still though, if you're purely on-prem, like, yeah, this would destroy you. It's just, there's no way of getting around it, right? Like if you have a single point of failure that is located in your data center on premises and it's being attacked, you're going to have some issues with elasticity in that regard. But I just can't think of well, I think you're right though. Like hospitals are just very slow to adapt to this type of stuff, right? Like so your Xbox Live service, your Netflix, your things that are money makers but don't necessarily have lives counting on it are very robust. They're in the cloud. There's multiple instances of them in case something were to jump off, financial, banking, things of that nature. But some hospitals still on Windows 97. So them being in the cloud and being robust and being out there, yeah, you might be right. Like this could be dangerous in the future.
Don't forget about quantum computing coming faster than what we think too.
That is, yeah, that's a nightmare. But it still would be restricted by the speed of the internet, right? Like, so I think we're still safe in that regard. Like, it can think faster, but it can't travel faster.
When they get to the point where quantum computing is becoming a more common in the personal household, I just think it'll be one of those things where they're like, hey, we have to up, this backbone. We have
right. We need terabits per second,
right,
in speed.
Right. Like megs and gigs are going to be a thing of the past, right? You know what I mean? So like that's what's going to end up. That's what's going to end up happening. It is my fear, right? Almost going to end up happening is that it's just going to be to a point where it's like it is happening so fast that even with these big companies, right? Because look at it now, like as much as everything is becoming automated, like they're getting rid of the people that may have. I don't know if this was caught by a person, right? I don't know if somebody was looking at a monitoring system.
Oh yeah, I doubt it. This probably is AI. It's like, hey, this is like there's a person there to wrangle it, like to say like to look at the dashboard and see like, hey, this is happening. Mm-hmm. I should go talk to my leadership about it. But I don't think human beings would have been quick enough to stop this in a minute. Like maybe so. I don't know. I've never worked in cyber in that regard. So maybe there is a team of people who sit there and just wait for spikes of traffic. So most likely it was automated.
So if that is the case, then for those of you that have seen iRobot, right, the movie, not read the books, are you telling me Vicky is running this right now? Right, that was the computer. Right? Vicky caught it. Like
I think it would have to be though, because to see all of the triggers, right? Like some it had to be an automated process. Like, hey, wait a minute, like this is because there has to be a swell, right? And you see like all these addresses are hitting this single whatever it was. They didn't disclose who was being attacked. I think they went as to say, they said it was financial, video game, and something else. So it was probably a data center of some sort was getting hit. What did it say? Yeah, this one was just saying some major attack. So it could be aviation, education, gaming, hospitality, the full gamut, telecom, like it could be anybody. That's when I even put specific names there. Maybe, yeah, in this regard, maybe it was a larger corporation that doesn't want to be disclosed that they're being attacked.
It could be. It could very well be.
But yeah, like you're right, the IoT army, as well as just people who don't patch their stuff, right? So there's 30,000 IPs. Some of these were probably like home computers, right? Like, I wonder why my internet's so slow right now. Well, it's because you're attacking someone and you don't even know it. So people will always be the weakest link in this regard. But I think for it to be that many IPs, I think a lot of it probably was IoT devices. Like there was a 10,000 thermostats out there attacking this company, unbeknownst to the homeowner.
Yeah, that's true.
So yeah, I mean, it is something to think about in the future as internet speeds become faster, as more devices are developed, and as more IoT devices kind of drop off into life. Like, because you're still gonna have them in your house, you're just not gonna be paying attention to them, and they're gonna be vulnerable and they're gonna be unpatched because companies don't have a vested interest to patch your I don't know, your Nest first gen that you still got running in your rental home, right? Is out there attacking people. And you would never know. They just wonder why it's acting funny.
They'll just want you to buy new. That's the thing, right? They'll be like, oh, we don't support that anymore. But our new line, you know what I mean?
Right.
That and the third. That's what they'll want, you know.
Right. But we talked about in the past how there are frameworks being put in place for IoT devices, but those would be for the new devices. Those won't be for the old ones that are currently still running out there, which will probably be running for until they finally burn out, which could be a decade from now. But yeah, it was definitely interesting to see that. So again, record breaking, 71 plus million requests per second. So that's enough to stop most companies. However, like you have like Cloudflare, AWS, Google, and Microsoft out there kind of protecting us from said attacks. But again, it's really going to be people dependent. They just need to be better educated to know that, hey, I need to patch my devices to make sure they're not out there attacking people, right? They're not part of the botnet. But that's a whole different convoluted conversation. Yeah. But definitely tend to hit us up. Definitely appreciate you guys listening to the discussion. So Monday and Tuesday are topics, Wednesday's discussion, and then Friday, which will be the next episode, will be everything else. So movies, TV, books, all that good stuff. So tune into that. To end your week on your commute. Unless you work from home, then just, I don't know what you would call it, your walk down the hallway. Definitely hit us up on all of our websites. You can hit me up personally. I'm at RY Security Guy. That's RYRY Security Guy. I'm on LinkedIn, Twitter, and Clubhouse. Stay safe, stay secure.